So we talked about the story of me and a couple other guys starting a fraternity because we ultimately didn't like what we were seeing and what our options were. And I was about to make a decision based on the least worst choice, which is never a good thing to do. The lesson that I learned from that was don't be so quick to compromise on your principles. Don't compromise them on at all. But don't be in such a rush just to be accepted and be willing to compromise what you believe is right just to go along with something. The advice that I would go back and give myself, and the advice that I have given myself since in a variety of situations, and that I would hopefully pass on to my daughter, is if you don't like the situation that you're in, create a new one. Now, that's easier said than done. And I'm not talking about people that are maybe dealing with health issues or are dealing with some trauma or some serious hardships. I'm not talking about any of that. I'm talking about you're in a situation at work or you're in a situation like I was with the fraternity or whatever. If you don't like the situation that you're in, you typically have the ability to make small or big changes, but even small changes to start creating a new situation. And what we did with our fraternity was we looked around and said, okay, we like the idea of a fraternity, but none of this is what we want. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to create our own. And that's exactly what we did. And if you believe in yourself and you're willing to put in the time and the effort, you'll be surprised at the results. I've done this at work as well. Where I work now, I sell commercial food equipment, and some of the different customer segment types kind of overlap and interact with each other. And some of them can have a lot of influence on the other customer segment types, and it can make my job very difficult. So if you just kind of play through the normal traditional channels, you're kind of, it's kind of up to the whim of those people that you're interacting with, whether or not they respond well to you or whether or not they're in the mood to let you play in the sandbox, versus just go build another sandbox and start inviting the people that you want over there. As far as your fitness goes, I've spent the majority of my life overweight and frustrated and unhappy about that. And guess what? I have the ability to change it. No one is shoving pizza down my pie hole, and I have the ability to change it. So there comes a time when I think you've seen quotes on social that talk about you finally make a change when the pain is greater than what you're willing to accept, or something to that effect, or whatever. So once you are faced with that choice and that obstacle and you need to make a decision, number one, don't be willing to compromise on your principles. And that's probably going to lead you to look around and say, you know what? I think I'm just going to create my own situation, or I'm going to do something different and go my own way. And we'll see where that takes me. And I think if we are willing to put ourselves out there in that way, again, in a somewhat of a controlled situation where you're not, blowing through your financial savings or putting your family at risk. But if you're able to make a change like that or be willing to make the change, then I think as soon as you get on the other side of that discomfort, you will see a whole new world open up.